So, Impressive Opinions, today we are talking about Batman v Superman, directed by Zack Snyder, starring Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill.
And Amy Adams, and
Jesse Eisenberg and a bunch of other people.
Jesse Eisenberg, Kevin Costner somehow makes an appearance, which is kind of unsettling.
Spoiler.
We'll get into that. And Diane
Keaton.
Diane Keaton.
Wait. Yeah, Diane Keaton.
Diane Keaton, yeah.
Yeah.
In this, we have Batman v Superman, and it's the
Who's the V? Is that
the V?
Is that a
versus? No, it's
versus.
Batman.
I thought it was a
Batman versus Superman.
Right.
Alien versus Predator. Santa Claus versus the Easter Bunny.
I think this is the first movie they have used a V instead of a versus instead of the VS.
Yeah, it kind of is confusing. I've never used the expression V.
They needed to be economical with their use of letters.
Yeah, that extra
cram the title in
that
as tight
extra
as they
letter
can.
really was a deal breaker for
But
their
then they had
$250 million movie.
Yeah. But then there's the whole Dawn of Justice subtitle, and that's just clunky. So you think if they're going to have Dawn of Justice, they would be able to afford the extra S to finish the VS,
Well, it is dawn. I don't know about you, but I don't do much at dawn. Like, dawn happens and then I do things later,
I'm usually not even awake at dawn.
I'm usually asleep at dawn.
Yeah.
So...
I don't wake up before...
I think 10. It was a very, very fitting title.
Yeah.
Dawn of Justice is just getting out of bed.
In fact, now that I think about it, I haven't actually seen a dawn in a long time. Like, seen the sunrise, it's kind of depressing, actually. I should change that. I should see a dawn one of these days.
Well, you did see the Dawn of Justice.
And that's what we're talking about today.
We saw it together, actually.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that this movie is getting horrific reviews. Some of the worst reviews of any movie that we've agreed to see. And
it's the worst reviewed movie I've seen in theaters in at least 5 years. Maybe.
Yeah, a lot of hype.
Ever.
It's doing fantastic at the box office, but there's a lot of things wrong with the execution of this portrayal of Batman.
A lot of things.
Superman.
I think it would be easier to go down the list of things it gets right, which is very few things.
What are those?
So I'll start.
What are those things? Okay, what it did that we enjoyed.
The things that I liked about it, I don't know if you liked about it. I think you did, but I don't like to assume too many things because that leads to problems. But what I liked about it was, first of all, Ben Affleck. I thought he was actually a pretty good Bruce Wayne and a pretty good Batman. Although I wasn't a fan of his computerized voice modulation. I thought that was kind of weird. But so anyway, I liked Ben Affleck as Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He kind of evoked the Batman animated series Batman better than any actor I've seen before. Like, he had that kind of comic booky feel to him. His stature, the way he looked, really imposing and stuff like that. There was a montage of Superman and the way the public perception is around him, and how he's this god character, and they would have little scenes of him floating down from the sky saving victims from a hurricane, have people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who are real people, talking about him in really philosophical terms and scientific terms, things like that. So I liked that little scene. I thought some of the dream sequences were visually pretty cool, if not very substantive. And that's kind of it. It had some moments. It had Ben Affleck. Everything else was a mess.
I agree with you. I found myself giggling many times, thinking it's not Ben Affleck's fault that this movie is not a great movie.
It's Zack Snyder's fault.
I, like many people, have been anticipating Ben Affleck as Batman, and not to say he's the best Batman there is. I agree with you. I think Christian Bale just kind of, he kind of killed it. And I kind of like the Val Kilmer Batman as well.
He was in a campy kind of fun way, but it's different from the dramatic takes.
It's really, really hard to compare.
Yeah.
That being said, Ben Affleck, he did okay. He did. I think that
he did the best with what he was given, for sure.
He did the best of what he was given. He wasn't given terribly much to really work with. You have 2 hours, and you have to establish essentially 5 characters and give them all, tremendous, at least glimpses of a backstory. I mean, how do you do the Batman origin story and the death of Superman story? Spoiler, but yeah, okay. And do the villain that they face, and do the Lex Luthor backstory. It's so much. The whole thing was really clunky. Like they couldn't wait to get on to the next thing, to start talking about. It
was overloaded with plot.
Was overloaded,
yeah.
And unfortunately, seeing Deadpool so recently, which was the exact antithesis of everything about this movie. Mm-hmm. Wait for Deadpool, Impressive Opinions episode coming your way.
What's next?
It's the exact opposite of that anti-hero movie. This is like a superhero movie, super budget, super director, and it just falls flat on so many reasons. I mean,
yeah, it's hollow, and it doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a soul. It's just a bunch of things happening, and it's not about anything. It doesn't have any ideas. To me, it just didn't have much weight. It felt very video gamey. That's kind of always been a Zack Snyder thing, but it was especially more so here because he's dealing with Superman, who you kind of have to use CGI for, and Batman is in this big armored suit, and all this kind of crazy shit is going on. But it's still just, I feel like a better director would have been able to make that all feel more grounded. Like, people talk a lot of shit on Christopher Nolan for his choreography, but the fights in The Dark Knight Rises I thought were fantastic.
Oh, yeah. No, I
thought
agree.
They were just gritty and real and brutal, and you could feel the hits landing, the bones breaking. Especially that last fight scene in Dark Knight Rises. It was rousing. It got your energy up. It was exciting, and you could just feel the emotion there. But in Batman vs. Superman, it's like, all right. It didn't mean anything to me.
I swear they took the fighting moves right out of Arkham Asylum. The Batman Arkham games, which are great games, have really cool choreography in their fight sequences.
It was just really exaggerated.
There's one where Ben Affleck grabs a guy back of his head and just slams him into like a cardboard or a big box, right? Mm-hmm. Not a cardboard box. That really wouldn't do that much damage, unless it was me. But then he slams his head, and then the guy goes ragdoll. His legs fly in the air, and it's like, I did that move. That's the XXB. Down left attack maneuver. And,
And even when he disabled their guns, I think he had like a little electromagnetic pulse thing where the guns were disabled. Like that's straight out of that game.
Yeah, straight out of the video game. And I mean, it's one of those things where when we're talking about comic book movies in general, whether we want to or not, we are purists. Like, we want things to be a certain way, and we want things to be really simple because the story is already there. It's not like they're making shit up. It's just they're taking 4 different stories and cramming them all into like this one cinematic, moment.
If they would have maybe introduced a new Batman, in this movie and had it just be about Batman and Superman.
Would have worked so much better if they had done the Ben Affleck Batman and ended it on a tragic note somehow. Like, they begin this one where it's like, Bruce, he's not happy with Superman, and there's a lot of propaganda about him and stuff. They could have ended on that note, and that just opens the doors for the your imagination to say, okay, now there's a reason for Batman versus Superman.
Conflict was created too quickly, and the thing is, even if they wanted to set up the conflict and execute the fight in all in one movie, they still could have done that, and it still could have been pretty good if they would have taken out Lex Luthor and all the subplots, if they would have focused it just on Batman and Superman and not thrown in Wonder Woman and Doomsday and all that other shit.
Yeah.
It's if they wanted to go that way, that still could have been strong, but to have that plus building the franchise, it was too much, and it was all unfocused, and it didn't have any depth.
And Doomsday is a way cooler villain than he ever got a chance to be in the cinematic universe. He's done. Yeah. That's it. That was Doomsday. He had about,
it could have been
15, 20 minutes. It's just an amorphous glob of nothing. They didn't explain anything. It was just the blood of Lex Luthor, and then, the dead body of the, I was going to say Klingon, but the Krypton. Yeah. So, General Zod, right?
Zod,
and from my understanding, Doomsday had way more than that. You know,
I'm not familiar with the character, but I mean,
any villain that only is just like a body to get shot at and then he's gone is not. You don't build villains like that.
It's just, it's a big monster that shoots lasers. Like, who gives a shit, man? Fuck. Like, I want to. Anyway, Batman vs Superman. Don't see it.
Or see it.
I don't. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I don't think it's worth the money. See it when it comes out on video for cheap, you know. But I don't. As one of the biggest Batman fans ever, like I used to dress up as Batman when I was a kid, going into the supermarket.
Spoiler alert!
Like
on you, like your life.
This is the first time on our show so far that I've really disliked the movie. Yeah, I don't recommend seeing this movie.
Sinjun has expressed his opinions, and you know, I have to agree with him. You probably shouldn't see this movie in theaters. It'll be a disappointing movie-going experience unless you're 12. And if you're 12,
even for kids, it's a bit too dark.
If you're 12, you should have candy and a soda, and you'll have a great time with this movie.